So let me show you some tiling do's and don'ts. In this case, we're finishing a feature wall for a fireplace. Like Claire and Hagen, I want to get a stone look on this fireplace, but instead of using actual stone like they did, which is porous and allows the grout to bleed into it, I've gone with a porcelain tile that looks like stone. There's a large range of tiles out there, so make sure when you're shopping around, you ask for advice and you do your research so you get the right tile for the job every time. Now, before you start mixing any glue, it's important to put the time into the set out. So for this job here, I'm using large format tiles, a 600 by 300, and I'm going to be running them horizontally. So I know that I need 14 full tiles and then 2 cuts down the bottom. And I'm leaving the cuts down the bottom because they'll be hidden behind the fireplace. When it comes to cutting tiles, if you're using a ceramic tile, you can go through it once and then snap it. But because we're using a porcelain tile, it's a lot stronger. So it's a good idea to score it twice and make sure that you get right to the edges. And then with the lever, sit it at the back of the tile and apply some pressure, and you should get a perfect cut every time. All right, that is all the cuts done. So now we can get on to mixing the glue. And we're aiming for a toothpaste consistency. Now, this wall's already been primed. It's important that any surface you're working on, you prime it before you start gluing. That way, it gives the glue somewhere to bond to. If you've ever tried tiling, the hardest thing is getting a nice level surface. Well, this levelling system takes all the guesswork out for you and gets you the perfect job every time. Once the tags are in place, you can lay your tile and then slip a cap over the top. Then with the tool, you simply just give it a couple of pumps and it pulls the 2 tiles level. Perfect. Another thing you want to remember when you're laying your tiles is to look on the back and you'll notice that there's an arrow. You want to make sure that these are all facing the same way. That way, if there's a pattern on your tile, it will all flow in the same direction. Once the tiles are dry, to remove the caps and tags, it's as easy as putting the tool on, giving it a squeeze, and we're ready for grouting. One thing about grouting is you don't need much water, so a good tip is to use a sponge to put it in. It just makes it a little bit more controlled. And like the glue, we're after a toothpaste consistency. Yep, that seems right to me. You can see that I've tiled the floor here, and that's because this is for a fireplace, so it creates the hearth here, and I decided to continue the tiles on each side, which finishes this room perfectly. It's a good idea to wipe down your joins with a damp sponge just to make sure that you've cleared out any excess glue that's there before you start grouting. When you're ready to clean your tiles, just make sure you go over the joins on an angle. That way, you're not digging out the grout as you go. The last step is to polish the tiles with a dry cloth. Now, you just want to make sure that you take your time when you do your tiling job. Get your set out right, clean out the joins, because your tiling job will end up being the hero of the room. And if you get it right, it will look like a masterpiece.